Sizzle reel.
And this is the Disney tapes.
O'Keefe
So these are
tapes.
the Disney files. We've had the Disney tapes.
Yeah, this is a
These are the
new
Disney-
set.
Yeah, these are the Disney files, so slightly different. James O'Keefe dropping them whilst we're streaming. Pretty good now. It says an insider source at Disney has provided O'Keefe Media with startling internal documents and communications. These documents reveal Disney's promotion of Pride events for children that involve naked men, maps of Disney-sponsored Pride events, Pride parades nationwide, Disney's covert partnership with Zebra Youth, a program supporting LGBTQ youth ages 13 to 24, and messages about polysexual virtual hang. What the? Okay, well, let's.
Yeah, and a lot of this you see right in the first 2 minutes here. Yeah.
Well, let's watch, shall we? Let's have a watch and we'll see.
Our brave whistleblowers on the inside of Disney have given us an inside look at Disney's internal communications hub, internal employee websites, group chats and bulletin boards, Disney's company employee roster, and their Slack channel threads. And what we've discovered is so shocking that it makes the Disney tape series look like child's play. Literally, the Disney employee named Pony Harrison, who is promoting a Disney-sanctioned and sponsored Seattle Pride event via the Disney Slack channel. As we dug deeper into what she was marketing, we found it was an LGBTQ Pride event sponsored by Disney and meant for kids of all ages. Children, very young children, were there to see it all, compliments of the Walt Disney Company. Did you just see that? Fully naked men on bicycles in front of children, brought to you by the Walt Disney Company. Well, now we know exactly what Jeannie Giannani, the creative marketing director, meant when he said the, quote, unspoken truth.
Well, that's the unspoken thing.
The journalist discovered that Disney has a not-so-secret partner named Zebra Youth. Zebra Youth is a program that was formed to assist LGBTQ youth as young as 13 years old, and Disney seems to be all about it. And hidden from the public, Disney actively promotes the Zebra Youth program, and if it were not for our brave Disney whistleblowers, insiders shining a light inside this company, we would not be able to bring this shameful practice to light. As you can see in this Disney Pride Slack channel, Disney employees are passing around documents of poly swingers, virtual hangouts, pride nights, gay meetups, and even, yes, queer Zoom backgrounds that can be used when employees are on company Zoom calls. Why is Disney so obsessed with pushing LGBTQ and trans programming at young children? Why is it that Disney, a brand that at one time was best known for enhancing the childhood experience, by all appearances has morphed into an organization that is hell-bent on stealing your childhood's innocence and prepping them to be grown into a den of groomers and predators? So now I welcome you to the series, The Disney Files, an undercover investigation where we take you deep inside the bowels of Disney's internal communications apparatus and explore just what is driving Disney's rapid downward spiral into the boneyard of wokeness.
Yeah, so this goes on for another 15 minutes here, as you see. So yeah, holy cow.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, I expected it to be pretty bad. I didn't expect them to be
bomb
promoting like polysexual meetups on their internal group chat. That's a bit weird.
I would love to hear right now all the people that have cried, you know, that word that YouTube doesn't like when
groomer.
No, well, not just that, but the conspiracy word, but yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
You know, when we said these things about this company, when we've had the leaks, we've had the internal stuff come out and say this stuff, and now we actually have the physical proof here.
I mean,
these are so for people know for context, like when the first few Disney tapes came out, O'Keefe said they had people from the inside of Disney reach out to them and want to speak to them about this stuff. So that's where he's gotten this stuff from.
Well, yeah, these are screenshots of them actually navigating their internal.
Yep.
Website.
This is almost worse than I could have anticipated, man. That's why I was bringing the other part up. Yeah, sorry.
But it's much worse. Yeah.
Hasn't Disney sort of always been behind the scenes, or at its core, something very, very different to that extremely wholesome, family-orientated vision of, you know, just fairy castles and things? You know, the original Walt Disney, if you look at his life, and his politics and some of the things he was on the record as saying. Pretty serious, kind of dark things. Even when I was a kid in like the 80s or the 90s, there was always these stories about how various things that Disney would say or do. They've got that. They had that really authoritarian village town that they owned, right? Do you remember that? And it's like it's really, really authoritarian and sort of some sort of weird, perverse.
I think you're talking about Reedy Creek, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, and then now they've, for whatever reason, in the last half a generation or so, have decided to go super, super woke to the point of being, harboring sex criminals or whatever they're doing. God knows what. God knows how deep the rabbit hole goes.
No, they do harbor them. They're regularly arrested for child trafficking and grooming on Disney grounds for employees. So that is actually a thing which happens, which is madness. So you've got to pair all of this information up with the fact that they quite literally have had police go in there and do raids on Disney employees. So,
well, to be fair, the Reedy Creek was after Disney's death.
Yeah, and also a lot of stuff you have heard about Disney is actually organized campaigns that, like, for instance, all this stuff about anti-Semitism and stuff like that. That is stuff that was meant to smear him from political enemies later on in life. A lot of shit happened in Disney, in the Disney company. It has for a very long time, ever since the 80s, actually. But not all of that was on Walt Disney's watch. Actually, under the Walt Disney era, the worst thing that, at least as far as I know, that you could say about him was that he employed a lot of women as animators, and he didn't necessarily pay them what many would consider a fair pay. Yeah. But beyond that, like most of the scandal stuff like that has come out in Disney, it's been in the decades after he stopped running the company, even after Roy stopped running the company.
Yeah, Roy left for a while too.
That things really went off the rails.
Well, yeah, and you even go to like Roy, and he'll talk about more so about the people afterwards. Yeah.
Well, let's watch a little bit more, because this is quite long, so I'd like to get through a little bit more. Okay.
I think it jumps right into an ad right away.
A week goes by without a news headline that is packed a little bit on stands ready to treat over 30 common ailments.
Like me, you can jump a little bit
clear that Disney discriminates against white men.
Certainly, there have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male person.
Just kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
how would they say it?
There's no way we're hiring a white male person. They, for writers and actors, we'll hear all the time, like, looking to hire writers and actors who bring diversity. I'm not looking to bring on any more clients who are white.
In Disney Tapes 2, we met Dave Mocker, who exposed that Disney seems to worship at the...
I'm going to fast forward this because he's just repeating some of the stuff before. I want some of the new stuff.
Yeah, he's probably setting something else up here, yeah.
Yeah, here we go, right.
Get a drag queen at Disneyland. That would be cool. I'm sure that's definitely.
Well, that was our series, The Disney Tapes. And as it turns out, through its internal policies and bizarre desire to push and normalize pride parades and drag queens into the everyday lives of America's children, Disney is clearly the gift that keeps on giving. After seeing our Disney Tape series, we have had several insiders and whistleblowers inside their headquarters here in Burbank, California, reach out to us to share their insight into Disney's bizarre fascination to transform a once trusted family entertainment brand into a multi-channel LGBTQ trans fest. Our brave whistleblowers on the inside of Disney have given us an inside look at Disney's internal communications hub, internal employee websites, group chats and bulletin boards, Disney's company employee roster, and their Slack channel threads. And what we've discovered is so shocking that it makes the Disney Tape series look like child's play. Literally, LGBTQ and trans parades with fully naked men on bikes.
Okay, they're actually showing the tape. You might want to
Pride nights on Disney's properties and out in communities across America. Company poly, swingers meetup groups. Company workshops on how to change your name as you transition. And TV specials aimed at children like Who I'm Meant to Be And yes, you guessed it, that show is all about letting young kids know that it's okay at any age to let the rainbow flag fly. And it looks as if it's sponsored and sanctioned by Disney. So now I welcome you to the series, The Disney Files, an undercover investigation where we take you deep inside the bowels of Disney's internal communications apparatus and explore just what is driving Disney's rapid downward spiral into the boneyard of wokeness. In the Disney Files, we're going to expose Disney's employee text messages about children at sexual pride parades, how Disney is sponsoring LGBTQ resources for minors,
I don't know if we're really
and now Disney is creating more and more gender-neutral bathrooms at their parks and businesses. And on top of this, how Disney is actively assisting with sex change surgeries for their employees and a whole lot more. Disney has several primary communication channels, including a Disney employee Slack channel, a central communications hub called My Disney Today, and if you work at Disney and want to contact other colleagues, they use something called Disney Roster. Since we'll be referring to Disney's various channels of communication throughout this series, let me briefly explain what each channel is and how Disney's employees use them to communicate. First, there's Slack. Now, Slack is a formal group text messaging app that allows employees at Disney to text each other and from different group chats, such as the one you'll see today. My Disney Today is a central hub where you can find internal policies, internal articles, and expectations at Disney. Now, they have an internal organizational chart that allows Disney employees to contact other colleagues from all different departments, and that's called Disney Roster. Now, let's jump right into the Disney Files. In this first installment of the Disney Files, we're going to delve deep into Disney's inner workings and expose just how Disney, through its many channels, seems to promote the grooming of innocent children and who is behind all of this madness inside the once family-friendly company that was founded by Walt Disney in 1923. You'll see how the Disney Files provides further proof of the claims of Disney's creative marketing director, that's Jeannie Giannani. We saw him in Disney Part 3 of how Disney is aggressively pushing the trans and LGBTQ agenda to innocent children, not just in the United States, but around the world. Let's take a dive into one of Disney's internal Slack channels called #DisneyPride.
Okay,
As you can see in this Disney Pride Slack channel, Disney employees are passing around documents of poly, swingers, virtual hangouts, pride nights, gay meetups, and even, yes, queer Zoom backgrounds that can be used when employees are on company Zoom calls. Disney employees are even passing around photos to gay pride questionnaires that are apparently being posted at the Disney Orlando offices and posters inviting fellow Disney employees to attend name change clinics.
Wow.
What the actual piss is this?
This is some...
This
is what I was talking about. Holy shit.
We've just gone full-blown clown world, haven't we?
Yep,
What is going on?
They have
It's
consistently shown that all of the things that they said, oh, no, it's not true. They're not doing this. It's not that. It's not this. It's not that. Bullshit. I press X for doubt every time, and now we know for a fact. Here's just another one to check off the list, and this one is just disgustingly sad because it's a company that families have come to trust. Right?
Well, not anymore, but yeah.
Well, obviously, but I mean, that's the thing that makes it so nefarious more than anything, is that the one company that's supposed to be known for families is doing this shit.
Yeah. How you doing? You work for Disney? I'm James O'Keefe. You see the videos 2 weeks ago with the guy was on video on hidden camera? Oh, you should check it out. The Disney Vice President, Michael Giordano.
All right, I'll take a look at it. Where's it at?
It's all over the internet. It has like 10 million views on X and YouTube, and it's going viral phenomenon.
I'll look at it on my lunch hour.
Yeah, please do. Let us know what you think. I've had it with all my personal...
All right, go forward, yeah.
Right.
For kids of all ages. Disney was open about promoting the brand at the Seattle Pride event and had signage at the event, which apparently went under the radar. And not only are they promoting the event in Seattle, they have mapped out a series of these Disney-backed Pride events all over the country. So who is Honey Harrison? Well, as it turns out, Honey is the Mobile Product Operations Manager at Disney. In addition to her position at Disney's Mobile Product Operations Manager, she's apparently one of the world's top pinball players. Honey sent this link a couple times in the Disney Slack channel. So let's give you a taste of exactly what goes on at these Disney-sponsored all-ages gay pride events.
Be careful here. Let me double-check this one.
No, I think it's all blurred out anyway. He wouldn't have.
It was originally, but it wasn't in the second video we showed. So be careful. Be ready to pull it down.
As you can see in this video of naked men riding bicycles,
good.
there were way
good.
more than just pinballs bouncing around that parade route, and children, very young children, were there to see it all. Compliments of the Walt Disney Company. Did you just see that? Fully naked men on bicycles in front of children, brought to you by the Walt Disney Company. Show it again in case you missed it. Well, now we know exactly what Jeannie Giannani, the creative marketing director, meant when he said the, quote, unspoken truth.
We're at peak clown world.
You ain't never had a friend like him.
Oh, it's not one bloody lady now, is it? Ah, goddamn.
His name was Genie. I thought it was clever. Yeah, you gotta love X with this. This is why I usually download him.
God damn it.
I'll just kind of remember where you are and refresh. Yeah, you're at 12 something there. I caught it.
He is sponsoring these pride parades. All ages be subjected to such sexual imagery, and should Disney be promoting it? As we dug deeper into Disney's Slack channel, we found that a Disney employee named Adriana Aguilar showed a map of all the pride parades that Disney was sponsoring. Yes, they are taking their show on the road. As you can see on this map, Disney is apparently sponsoring pride parades in Washington, D.C., Fresno, New York, L.A., and more. Disney is sponsoring these pride parades all around the country, as you saw in the graphic. As our investigative journalist at O'Keefe Media Group dug even further into Disney's internal communication channels, the journalist discovered that Disney has a not-so-secret partner named Zebra Youth. Now, what is Zebra Youth? Zebra Youth is a program that was formed to assist LGBTQ youth as young as 13 years old, and Disney seems to be all about it. To give you some context, Zebra Youth is described as a program that advances its mission by providing high-quality, culturally appropriate programs designed to meet the unique needs of homeless and at-risk LGBTQ youth ages between 12 and 24.
That's full-on grooming. That is full-on grooming.
Well, yeah, I mean, Disney only seems to know how to, make shit for girls. So I guess what's the best way of creating more customers? Make more boys girls?
Way.
No, I'm not trying to be too funny here, but no, this is disturbing. I mean, we already knew some of this stuff, but again, confirmation.
The extent, isn't it?
We've heard some of the rumors of these things. About programs and them actually their insurance covering certain transition surgeries and stuff like that, but usually that tended to be for adults from our understanding. But we heard inklings and rumors about other things too. So like again,
well, I think this we'll watch a bit more now because I think this will go into it, to be fair.
Under the radar and hidden from the public, Disney actively promotes the Zebra Youth program. And if it were not for our brave Disney whistleblowers, insiders shining a light inside this company, we would not be able to bring this shameful practice to light. And as consumers and shareholders, you and I would never know about it. As we uncovered, and as you can plainly see on your screen, Disney partners with Zebra Youth as a third party to help out LGBTQ youth, even providing arts and crafts for them to do. Amazing works of art like Gay Mickey Mouse, where Disney encourages kids to put colorful sticky notes, quote, where they belong. Now, we dug deeper into the Disney files and found their internal org charts. Disney's organizational chart is a winding web of names and titles that starts at the top with Disney CEO Bob Iger and goes all the way down the employee food chain, explaining who's who at Disney and who does what. Now, let's meet Disney's Vice President, Queen Denchukwu, and her DEI team. Queen, who ironically is one of the few queens we've come across at Disney who actually claims to be a woman, is Disney's Vice President of DEI. In her role as Vice President of DEI, Queen aims to implement diversity, equity, inclusion at Disney through all channels of the company onto all employees. Now, we also checked out drag queen Jeannie Giannani's team and their profiles on Disney's org chart and found out who is on the creative marketing side of things and who exactly is in charge of what. Jeannie reports to Vice President of Marketing Casey Brickner. On the creative side of Disney, they aim to produce proper marketing of products, ideas, and events all across Disney. Again, it begs the question, why is Disney so obsessed with pushing LGBTQ and trans programming at young children? And why are so many Disney employees passing around links to pride parades and exposing children to naked men on bikes, promoting this zebra youth and passing around poly swinger lifestyle meetups? Why is it that Disney, a brand that at one time was best known for enhancing the childhood experience, by all appearances has morphed into an organization that is hell-bent on stealing your childhood's innocence and prepping them to be grown into a den of groomers and predators? It just begs so many unanswered rhetorical questions. So coming up next week on Disney...
Well, we'll stop it there. It's going to be more adverts and some more promotion for next week. But wow.
Most likely, yeah.
Bo, you've sat there very quiet. I'd like your opinion on this.
Well, I'm not sure if I can say too much without probably being prosecuted for hate crime in the UK and the video being for hate speech, rather, and the video being taken down to demonetized, getting you in trouble with YouTube. But there's some people in the world that are hell-bent on subverting and perverting everything that is good about Western civilization. That's their goal in and of itself. It doesn't beg a belief if you notice that some people do that and have always done that.
God damn. I wonder. Yeah, I wonder if this will be as big as what we think it's going to be, because the Disney, Disney tapes they were okay. They weren't as...
I wouldn't call them nothing burgers, but they're about as nothing burgers you can get.
And after that, it kind of fell off a cliff.
Let me offer a perspective, though. I think that it wasn't surprising to us because we're exposed to this material all the time. It was
true.
It was an exposure to normies, as we call them, right? Regular people. You know, when you start to see, as Tom says, lots of confirmation about the things that we have been told, the things that we've maybe personally reported on, stuff like that. We start to see that come out in, you know, a way that's going to push it to the mainstream. I think that's the play. You know, you may not like, you know, the messenger, but it's not going to go away. This is going to be talked about. It's going to be explored. People are going to start looking at the Disney internal tools. You're probably going to get a hacker that's going to go through and find a bunch of stuff. I mean, you could end up with a WikiLeaks like Sony ended up with, right? You could end up in a situation where you get all this internal communication via email between the executives that are pushing this and what the source is that's pushing this on Disney. Because we know that Disney wasn't headed this direction. This is a recent phenomenon. You know, back when Gay Days started back in 1991, that was done by travel agencies as a way to make more money. It wasn't aimed at, you know, this type of an agenda. It was done at a time when, you know, we were just, you know, dealing with the AIDS crisis and everything else. You know, you had a completely different situation. So like I said, when it doesn't phase us, or we're not surprised, although there was some stuff in here I was surprised about. I was also impressed that they were able to get, you know, to show the internal tools like roster and the hub, which used to be the, you know, the cast, or I guess they changed the name to the cast communication tool. I forget what it's called, but there's a lot of things that have changed that clearly they have direct access to through these employees. If I were Disney right now, I'd be flipping out.
Well, yeah, what's on there? What else do they have? Like,
yeah,
what else
you know, and look, I mean, is it going to get shut down from Twitter? Probably not.
Well, no, yeah, they're not going to shut it down.
Yeah,
I mean, Twitter.
Elon
Musk is going to retweet it.
Yeah,
he'll probably retweet it.
Elon does not like Disney. He's got good reason. Iger is a scumbag. You know, and look, you're Bob. You are 100 millionaire. You're fighting with a 100 billionaire.
True.
No, I mean, look, Disney was kind of upfront years and years ago, you're right, culture about not, I'm not talking about the gay day or whatever it was, but they actually were one of the first companies to actually allow benefits for partners. But that was because in California, of course, within the studio itself, there was a lot of gay people that worked at the studio at the time, so it made sense for them to do that. And especially for in Hollywood, I can see that being this is why we say to them the real world, it is all gay because everybody's gay. Well, yeah, when 50 to 90% of the people you work with are gay, of course the world's going to look gay. But guess what? That's only what it's like in California and certain other specific spots in the world. The rest of the world is quite diverse, actually diverse, right? So that's the thing. And this whole gay agenda thing, this is new, right? Like this stuff is new. So I'm trying to differentiate the two things here, right? Because all the stuff Disney had done before seemed more geared towards their employees for like benefits or some sort of adult events. Like there was adult nights and certain things in certain areas as far as culture. I'm sure you could speak on that a little bit, but outside of that, as far as I know, there was a clear separation between what was allowed, right? And what wasn't allowed. And I mean, even goes back to where when they even first introduced Touchstone Pictures, they weren't even 100% sure if they were going to do R-rated films yet. They said it's a possibility and we're going to do it. But they even said, even if we do, we're not going to have the gratuitous violence and nudity and such that other Hollywood films do have, right? So they were always conscious of that part of the business. This to me seems like a complete 180 from anything Disney ever stood for, regardless if you're talking about the original Disney or if you're talking about the Renaissance Disney. To me, this is like beyond, and then you not to even get into just the whole moral and other aspects of it, right? It's just the fact that a business like this has this kind of a problem underneath inside, and it's starting to seep through everything they have in the company. Like that just tells me it's more deep rooted than we ever thought it was. I mean, even though we, Andre and all the rest of us, we've talked about it for years, we knew it was deep rooted. But I mean, after seeing this, I'm even kind of flabbergasted at how blatant, and I can't even think of the words. I mean, I don't know if Andre can help me out with this here, but like, I mean, I'm sure even you had to be kind of taken aback a little bit there by some of the stuff you saw and how blatant it was.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I was disappointed by the last two Disney tapes, but boy, did he make up for this one. I really hope he's going to have some bangers on tape here because that's what's going to be needed. Because this thing right here, this is pretty nuts. This is going way too far. I mean, we are now beyond the realm of not so secret gay agenda.
Yes,
we are way into the realm of open and actual grooming. And I mean, even the group Onyx, the Gays Against Grooming, are going to have a fit over this, because this is
exactly why they exist. Yeah, sorry.
This is all conspiracy theories confirmed right here. This is completely beyond the pale that there's no words for it.
Well, I mean, one word springs to mind: evil. I use that word.
Well, that's
sparingly, because it's. Bear in mind, this is very deliberate. It's not like, oh, they've accidentally slid towards this agenda.
Deliberate. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Very, very deliberate agenda, an evil one. Can you imagine the darkness inside the hearts and souls of the people that thought, I know, let's infiltrate and subvert Disney into a vehicle for grooming children? Can you even wrap your mind around that evil?
Yeah. It's even more nefarious than anything that the drug industry, the alcohol industry, or the tobacco industry has done combined, if you ask me, because it's actually...
Yes. It is. It is worse than any of them combined. I agree.
Because even at least in those situations, they're pushing things for the bottom line being money.
Yeah, exactly. They just know that there's no money in this. I mean, that's good old-fashioned greed, and they're happy to destroy some people's health in the process. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm saying in the bigger scheme of things, there are worse things, and this is an example of worse
thing. Yeah.
I mean, and there's
sorry,
no
I'm laughing at
financial-
the audacity of it. That's what I'm.
There's
I
no
just can't even
financial
believe it.
motivation here. There's nothing financial that can excuse this. Nothing at all.
It's funny. I just want to build on what Tom said there. Yeah, the audacity of it as well. It's not. It's of course evil in and of itself, but the chutzpah to even attempt something like this.
The trick is to make us. They're trying to paint us as evil for being against it, Bo. That's the whole thing, right? Like that's the gaslighting trick here.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's the gaslighting part of it, or that's how they've managed to do it.
And Tom, there's another thing. You mentioned one thing there that I thought was important. You said that the whole world is diverse. In contrast to what they try to make it out to be. But there's something else the world is as well. Disregard Hollywood. You know what the whole world is? As a whole, the world is straight. That's what the world as a whole is. It's straight. And of course, then you have a single-digit percentage everywhere of the various LGBTQ population.
They basically have to lump them all together, yeah.
Of which the overwhelming majority are gay. The overwhelming majority of that entire population is just G. And then you have an even smaller percentage of people who are nefarious. And that's who they're catering to here. These are the people that want P added to LG, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Once they started adding more letters to it, right? The classic G and L just wasn't enough, right? Even a little B. Honestly, I guess I can accept the B.
L. I mean, just G.
No, you're right. 100%. Gay means the same thing no matter what. That's why I always never understood. Well, of course, leave it to women to have to label their own thing. But no, I'm just saying. But like, joking aside, no, it's just, and you're right. All these other groups that have been added to it, that's what like the G's against G's, as we said before, without saying the whole name, and certain what I would call classic gay people have been against all this time. They're hijacking our movement, right? And the whole idea is and I have friends that happen to be gay and lesbians and whatnot, and some are very much older than me even. So they're the old school, right? And they're just sitting here going, look, all we wanted was to be able to get married and for people to leave us the hell alone. That's all we ever wanted. We didn't want any of this label stuff. We didn't want all this nonsense out there because clearly nobody can represent us better than us anyway. And they were fine with watching, more indie levels type stuff. Or like I've said before, a lot of my gay friends, they'll sit there and they'll bitch about things like Bros. They're like, I don't want that. If I want that, I'll just watch a gay porn. They're like, I want to watch a romance movie for the romance aspect. I want to see Julia Roberts get with George Clooney at the end, even though they're fighting through the whole movie. That's what they like, right? They like the same thing that women like. Imagine that. It goes the same way with why they watch action films too. They want to see the buff men, the same reason the women do. So it's like you're catering to the same audience. They just didn't realize it this whole time. And then you add in all these other letters to it. And that's where Andre is right. You're getting such a small percentage because they literally have to lump so many of them together to even get a percent. That's the problem.
Well,
we do have some super chats on this actually. So let's get to them. Sam Fisher sent this whilst we were watching it. It says German Weimar Republic intensifies. Yep.
Yeah.
And then Adam.
That's a very good point, actually.
Adam says, you guys need to watch Diversity Games by Flash Gits. It's a great video and a hilarious channel. I've never heard of that. But yeah, happy to check that out for sure. Good recommendation. Everyone else. Kalechioki, Super Chat $2 says this company has quite literally has become the epitome of evil. Going after children is insanely disgusting. All this is being exposed under Iger's term. I hope all this stuff is going to be brought up at the next earnings call. Dude dropped a bomb. That is true, actually. Is the state of this?
Disney will ignore this.
Yeah, completely.
Well, yeah, but
completely
depending
silent.
if someone gets, it's dependent if someone gets through and brings it up to him, isn't it? Though that's the thing. You know, if they're doing an earnings call, a call in, someone might.
They've stopped doing that now. I mean, we've seen this already. They have now faked it, because basically what they're doing now is that they're claiming that to protect the privacy of the people calling in, if you want, you can call, you can record your name, you can record your question, and then they will protect your privacy. They will then not say your name, they will not disclose it, and they will have an AI repeat your question. So that way they can create their own questions under the guise of protecting the privacy of those asking questions, so they don't have to deal with any questions they don't want to answer. So I'm afraid that that is no longer going to happen. The last time Bob Iger was ambushed by own shareholders was the last time Bob Iger was ambushed by shareholders.
And that's probably how he put it too. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Because I would have thought Bob Iger knows. Not only does he know that all this shit is going on, but it's by design. He's signed off on it to some level. There's this idea that, you know, because there's no direct orders from the very top, they might not have known. You know, like Nixon didn't know about the Watergate break-in. Hitler didn't know about the final solution. There's no direct evidence, no direct orders. They knew. Of course they knew. Of course Bob Iger knows. Right? Let's not be naive about this. Of course.
Well, right, Paul. This isn't just a couple of back channel people that work at Disney. This is, and that's where I think O'Keefe really knocked it out of the park on this one, because unlike the last one where it was just kind of like some bantering about, and literally that's what the second or third video we saw the interviewer leading him into the stuff with the you know the you know, I'd love to see a trans person this and more trans representation, all that kind of crap. This is actually legit. They're sanctioned like chat rooms and stuff that Disney uses, and they're actually having, like, the stuff that really got me was the stuff that was being passed around within the workplace and in all the programs and the funding and sponsoring of these pride events and such. That's the thing that I'm like, that's your smoking gun right there to prove that what you just said. Bob Iger is not only aware of this shit, he's sanctioning it.
Yeah, we got some more super chats here. So both of these are from Horseradish Power. So he says, I'm here looking at the response to Disney and smiling hard. They've been social engineering for decades. Florida likely has a whole host of secret tunnels for transporting special little guests about, and those swamps can hide bodies, just saying. I've been more than happy for Disney to go for years now. This is why it is at all levels. The company is evil, and all output should be looked at carefully. Acolyte is a psyop. I'm convinced with it. Agatha probably as well. Mental manipulation.
Well, I mean, not to even
engineering.
You don't even have to get that dark, really. You just have to point out that recently they said that a bill that would protect kids from human trafficking got shot down because it was, quote, discriminatory against LGBTQ community.
Yeah,
I think right there is you're basically that's a self own if I ever saw one.
Who's the governor of Florida?
Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis, yeah. It was a few years ago, wasn't it? He properly sort of went after, sort of explicitly saying these guys are blocking this bill.
Yeah, it became a big.
You're right, Tom. It's a smoking gun. Sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
Yeah, they went to court for it all as well,
and they lost completely in everything.
Yeah,
spectacularly. Quite comical, to be honest.
But then I saw someone in the chat say, despite everything, pardon me, despite everything, many sort of normie families will still keep going to Disneyland or Disney World or whatever you guys have got, and whatever Disney put out in terms of the next animated movie, No matter how subversive it is, they'll still go and see it, or they'll buy it on DVD or whatever it is. It's incredible, right? It's absolutely incredible.
That used to be true. And I know that Inside Out just scored more than $1 billion because that movie was void of it. But as a general thing, the Disney brand has really gone through the ringer here, and they have really struggled with the audience, especially the conservative audience in the US, as the brand is seen more and more divisive. And you have like now polls that show that Disney is rapidly becoming a much more divisive brand than even some politicians. So they actually are not getting away with it in the way that they used to.
Yeah,
and they've even had to add that to certain filings and disclosures that a corporate risk is that of course they were very careful with the framing and how they placed it, but that their audience might misunderstand or believe false narratives about Disney's political positions and activism, and that's a corporate risk. So they're actually not getting away with it. I mean, Star Wars has gone down to the dogs.
Yeah.
The audience is gone.
Well,
Marvel is struggling. Deadpool is going to be a respite, and then it's going to go straight down the way of the dogs again with Agatha All Along, another LGBTQIAP+ series. Notice I always add that P in there, doing them a favor. And same with their animation. Their first animation that actually has been successful for years now is Inside Out 2, but everything other than that has flopped, much because of the agenda in it.
And I think there's two sides to that. I think that in one end of Inside Out 2, it goes to show part of what Bo is saying, and that there's still a large swath of the general audience who's not up to speed with a lot of this or noticing this. Kind of like, in that video, he literally asked that one Disney employee who drove the bus there, have you seen my videos? And he said, no. I believe him. You want to know why I believe him? Because as we constantly point out to people, Twitter isn't the real world, right? There's a very small actual amount of people on Twitter compared to the actual real world. And in that respect, that since O'Keefe is being kind of delegated to Twitter only, and as he pointed out, one of his tweets when he was teasing this is like, there'll be no awards for this, there'll be no write-ups for it, that kind of thing. So it's important that we're talking about this stuff because it's us and other people bringing light to these things, even though we're well aware of it, and you guys in the audience are. It's like, have you guys told one of your normie friends today about this shit? Maybe you should each and every one of you might do somebody a family a favor today by taking that O'Keefe video and sharing it with what you would consider one of your normie friends who don't follow this stuff. And you'd be surprised. And get back to Mr. H in the comments of this video and tell him how many of those people said, I had no idea that this was going on. I was completely unaware of this stuff, or this completely makes sense now why the Disney stuff has felt so off for so many years. Because I do believe there's still a large portion of the audience that just is not aware of this stuff yet. But there is, and Andre's right. But I think Inside Out 2 is an anomaly because, and maybe Culture can back me up on this one, because I don't know if the demographics have come out yet, but Valiant and I had a theory, and it's kind of come true with part of the merchandising side of things, but I haven't gotten into the demographic viewing side of things yet. But I have a feeling the reason Inside Out 2 is doing so well is it's pulling in that 12 to 36-year-old female demographic crowd that Barbie did.
Yeah, but the question is it selling merchandise?
No.
And that was the question I think I asked the other day, Monday, actually, on your guys' show, on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. And I'm going to keep asking that question for a long time to come. Is Inside Out selling toys? No. But you know what is? Despicable Me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, everyone loves them bloody Minions.
So Disney has lost trust across the board. I mean, these weekly, it seems like, controversies aren't something that's lost on the general public. The business community is trying to figure out how to avoid these kinds of things because they don't want to get Leslie Heinerscheited. They don't want to be Heinerscheited, right, Andre? So
Alyssa Heinerscheited, yeah.
That's what it is.
You do not want to be Heinerscheited, and this is how you get Heinerscheited.
It is. And, there are so many different controversial things right now. This is obviously one of the most damning is the agenda that, was their not so secret gay agenda we heard about all the way back Christopher Rufo. But this is just one of the things. They come off looking bad. They are subject to multiple class action lawsuits from their employees, from people that tried to work for them. They have a pay dispute with women in California. A lot of it worth billions of dollars, and it's not. These aren't going away. They can't get these things dismissed anymore. You know, one of the reasons that they put the law in place so that Gina Carano can do what she's doing is because they wanted to show their love to the commies, because of, you know, it goes all the way back to the blacklist. That's what it was. And you know what? They weren't wrong. This is the thing. You know, Hollywood's always been red is not a lie. But as an institution, Disney specifically has lost a giant percentage of trust, over 30% in the last 5 years. That's not good. It's very, very bad. And it's only slipping. Anyway.
Olaf has super chatted $3, our great mod, and says, as I said many times, DEI stands for divide, exclude, indoctrinate.
Yeah.
Or didn't earn it. Works both ways, but yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. Pretty great breaking news there. I think we've dived into it more than enough. My back is absolutely killing me. So, Culture, what you got going on?